to talk about dividing fractions this morning. So, now I know you may feel like, should go when why are we talking about dividing fractions this morning? I'm telling you, it's going to be easy. Okay, everybody say easy.
Easy.
It's going to be easy. So at the top of your paper, I want you to write dividing fractions. And with these, they are very, very easy. Very easy. Okay? So at the top of your paper, I'm going to do it with you. You're going to write dividing fractions and put today's date of June 18, 2019, please. So we're going to talk about dividing fractions this morning. Now everyone knows how to divide, yes?
Yes.
Beautiful. So, you may think that dividing fractions is difficult. You may think that dividing fractions is, something that you can't do. That is not necessarily the case this morning, okay? So, you can divide fractions in 3 easy steps. 3 easy steps, okay? Here's the first one. Here's the first step. There are 3 steps. So the first step, keep first fraction the same. I want to make sure that you're writing that down. Keep first fraction the same. We'll go over these steps in a second. Keep the first fraction the same. The next step, change division to multiplication. So in math terms, you'll probably see the inverse. Everybody say inverse. Everybody say inverse. Inverse. Inverse is simply the opposite. So what is the inverse of addition?
Subtraction.
Subtraction. And what is the inverse of multiplication?
Division.
Division. So it's simply the opposite. That's a mathematical term as opposite. And then the third step, you're going to flip the second fraction. So I came up with a little model with this. So for dividing fractions, you're going to keep, change, flip. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You're going to keep the first fraction, change division to multiplication, flip the second fraction. Let's see how we do it. So, we have the problem, 2/3 divided by 1/4. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Beautiful. So, if we're doing our steps, our 3 easy steps, what am I going to do to this fraction?
You're going to keep the first
I'm going to
fraction.
keep it, and then what's the second step? I'm going to do what?
Change it to multiplication.
Change it to multiplication. And then what am I going to do with this one?
Flip the second.
So what's it going to be now? 4 over 1. You're simply flipping the numerator with the denominator. So literally, when I say flip, the denominator goes on top, the numerator goes on bottom. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then what do we do now? Just straight regular multiplication.
Multiply.
What's 2 times 4?
8.
And then what's 3 times 1?
3.
Yes, ma'am. It's an improper fraction. So Victoria, how do we make this into a mixed number? What do I divide? Okay. So if I do this, how many times can 3 go into 8?
2.
2. What's 3 times 2?
6.
Now what would be my mixed number?
2 remainder 2. 2 remainder 2.
So you can do 2 remainder 2, but if we're doing a mixed number, it will be 2 and 2/3. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Easy, right? You want to do another one?
Yes.
Perfect. Let's do another.
Can we do it by ourselves?
Yeah, perfect. Scroll all the way down. Scroll all the way down, 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 all the way down. Bam. If you can click on question 2. So, 7 over 12 divided by 2/3. So, if you're remembering our steps, 7 2/3. What's my first step?
You
keep the first fraction, which is 7 over 12. What's my second step? What do I do?
change the fraction to multiplication.
Beautiful, y'all are getting this. And then what do I do with this second fraction right here? Okay, so if I flip it, what will it be now? 3 halves, which is, what is another way to say it?
3 over 2.
3 over 2. Now, straight multiplication. What do I do now? 3 times 7 is what?
21.
21. And then what is 12 times 2?
24.
Now question, am I done with this?
No.
What do I do?
You divide it. Oh.
There we go, the GCF. The GCF. So what is the greatest common factor between 21 and 24?
2.
Remember your multiplication factor.
7. 7.
Who said 3?
I said 3.
3. So remember those multiplication facts, okay? So you gotta remember what numbers multiply to get that number, and it shows up on both sides, right? So remember when we did the factor tree? So, what's 21 divided by 3?
7.
7. What's 24 divided by 3?
6. Oh no, 8.
8. 8. This is our answer. So would it be A, B, C, or D?
D.
D. Beautiful. You want to do another one?
Yes.
Let's see. Let's do number 6. I want you to do number 6 on your own. Number 6. 7 over 20 divided by 5 over 7. 7 over 20 divided by 5 over 7. Remember our 3 steps. We're keeping, we're changing, and we're flipping. And then straight multiplication after that. So remember, we're keeping, we're changing, and we're flipping. Very simple. Everybody has an answer? No? Okay. Give you some time to continue. 7 over 20. 7. So you do the greatest common factor when you multiply, you'll see that there is a greatest common factor. So you just have to look at the numbers once you multiply them, and then you'll see, you'll say, they got a number in common that I can break this fraction down a little bit more, which is better known as simplifying, right? So when you're looking at your Georgia milestones or your star, it's not gonna have 21 over 24. It's gonna have a more simplified version. So you have to look at the answer. So, and they may have that answer, but when they look at that, they're gonna see, they might have 21 over 24, 7 over 8. You might want to go ahead and choose 7 over 8. Because even though 21 over 24 is correct, if this isn't direction, simplify in lowest terms, you would have to go with D because it's in lowest terms. Are we good?
Yes.
Do we have our answer?
No.
So who doesn't have an answer? Okay. We're doing 3 easy steps. It's 3 easy steps. 3 easy steps, guys. So let's go ahead and do it. Can someone read to me the problem?
7/20 is divided by 5 7. 7, not 7 5. No, that's 5 7.
5 7s. So, let's see here. Lauren, what's my first step? Okay, so what do I do with 7 over 20? I just do what? Bring it down. Salathiel, what is my second step? Beautiful. And then let's see, Kennedy, what is my last step?
Now you have to find the greatest common factor.
Before I do that, what's my third step? So I brought my first.
Your third step is flip 5, 7. Now it's going to be 75.
Beautiful. Now, let's see, Briangel, what's 7 times 7?
49.
Milo, what's 20 times 5?
Oh,
100.
100. Now, can I break this fraction? Can I break this fraction down? No. So what will my answer be? A, B, C, or D? D. Does that make sense? Yeah. So let me do it. So how many of us are feeling good on dividing fractions? You give, so like a 5 saying, I could do this, this is really easy. A 4, pretty okay, I may mess up a little bit. 3, I'm kind of not getting it. 2, I don't know. 1, I'm just not getting it at all. 0, I don't know where I am. I'm seeing a whole lot of 5s. Great. So let's do another one. Let's do one more. Let's do number 10. Okay, let's do number 10. Ooh! Now, let me help you with this one. So, I'm hearing great mathematical language here. So read to me the problem.
2 and 3 divided by
3 and 3/4. Okay. So when we get to a problem like this, what's the very first step that we do? Let's see, Mari.
You break down
You break down
the
what?
fraction.
The mixed numbers, right? Okay, so how do I do that? How do I do that? How do I do that? Let's see. How do I do that? How do I do that? You know how to do that?
Divide, I think.
No, not divide. Let's see here. Mila, how do you do that? How do you do this? Okay, how do I change it to an improper fraction? Beautiful. So, how to change a mixed number to an improper fraction? I need everyone paying attention, because you're definitely going to need this on the milestone. When you're doing a mixed number, change it to an improper fraction. You're going to multiply the denominator by the whole number. Then add the numerator. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, 2 times 2 is what?
4.
Plus 1 is?
5.
5. And when you're doing the change to mixed number to improper fraction, you always keep the denominator the same. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so how do I change this to an improper fraction? Eddie.
So, the other fraction.
Okay, so tell me how to do it.
So you're supposed to put the plus on the top.
Okay, and what do I put on the bottom?
The top.
Multiplication. So 3 times 4 is what?
12.
12 plus 3 is what? 15.
Over 4.
15 over 4, because we keep the denominator the same. We must keep the denominator the same. And now we're ready to solve our problem.
Wait,
So,
I thought you were supposed to change some more.
the thing is,
Oh.
before you do this, before you try to solve it, you must change it from a mixed number to improper fraction. You must.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
So, this way you've changed it from a mixed number to an improper fraction. Now you're able to actually solve the problem. So can someone walk with me through the process? Let's see here. Shakia.
So first, you keep fit, 5 half. You keep 5 half.
Okay.
And you change the division sign to a multiplication sign. And then you change the 15 fours to 415.
Beautiful. Now, Martarius, what is 5 times 4? 20. Let's see here. Joy, what is 2 times 15?
30.
Am I finished?
No.
Why am I not finished?
You have to the greatest PCF.
Okay, what is the greatest common factor of 20? 10. Beautiful. So what's 20 divided by 10?
2.
30.
30 divided by 10.
30. It's 2 thirds.
So what is it, A, B, C, or D?
B.
B. B. B. And that's dividing fractions. Isn't that easy? How will you learn? How will you learn?
We divide it like, I can't explain it. We divide it like a lot differently. So
What do you mean? What do you mean by dividing differently?
we had made it like this, and we would have our division problem. So we would our denominator. We would put our denominator and then the number right here, and then we would divide it all up. But we would have to find the number that we would have to subtract for that number inside. So we would have to find like the
Right. So definitely, that's definitely another great way to do it. But if you want to just get the answer in a more simple way, these 3 steps. Does everyone have this on their notes?
Yes.
Who doesn't have? I need you to get this down because I know this is going to be on milestone. I already know it is. So you're already ahead of the game because you know how to do this. You're already ahead of the game. So remember, when we're dividing fractions, we keep the first fraction. We do the inverse. What's the inverse of multiplication of division?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. And then what do we do to that second fraction? Flip it. Okay? Was that easy?
Yeah.
Give yourself a round of applause.